A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today. I am looking at Star Wars Vader Down. This is the first crossover of the new Marvel age of Star Wars. The reason I thought I'd take a look at this today is because I just finished watching Kenobi, and it was one of the best Star Wars stories that I have read or seen in a long, long time. So I was feeling a little nostalgic and just pulled this one out and thought I would give it a go. So without further ado, here is another episode of So this is Star Wars Vader Down. Rather unique in that it is really the first crossover Star Wars graphic novel, or series, I should say, which crossed over between the Star Wars Vader Down issue, the Marvel Star Wars comic, and the Marvel Vader comic. So, Star Wars Vader Down. We open with, of course, the classic Star Wars scrolling. Vader Down. It is a period of unrest in the galaxy. The Sith Lord Darth Vader, enforcer of the Galactic Empire, has learned that it was Luke Skywalker who was the rebel pilot responsible for blowing up the Death Star. Vader is now more determined than ever to track down his son and turn him to the dark side. Luke, unaware that Vader is his father, fights against the Empire with the Rebel Alliance. New to the ways of the Force, Luke has discovered the Journal of Ben Kenobi and has begun investigating any information he can on the Force-using Jedi Knights and their ways. Through the underworld sources of his secret ally, Dr. Aphra, Vader has received word of Luke's location, the former Jedi Temple on the planet Vrogus Vas. So here we have the setup, of course, set between Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. So we have Vader in his TIE Fighter. He is talking with Dr. Aphra. Dr. Aphra is a character who was introduced in the Vader comic. She has two droids with her. They are pretty much the exact opposites of C-3PO and R2-D2, in that the protocol droid is called 000, and he is basically a murder bot, and the R2 unit, I believe, is called B2 or BT, and he is just equipped with guns and weapons and stuff. So Vader and Dr. Aphra are talking here. She is letting Vader know that her contacts have put Luke Skywalker's location on the planet of Vrogus Vas. I'm probably going to mess that name up. And as Vader comes out of hyperspace, he is confronted with squadrons of TIE fighters, which is a surprise because Vrogus Vas is supposed to be uninhabited. And then we have Star Wars Vader Down. The TIE fighters, the X-Wings I should say, seeing this lone TIE fighter, believe it's a scout ship, and they go to attack it. But of course, it is Vader, and Vader basically is just flying circles around them. Those of you that are familiar with Star Wars know that in the prequel trilogy, Anakin Skywalker kind of is a pilot. I mean, the pod race scene in The Phantom Menace, we have Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. At the very beginning, the opening sequence of Revenge of the Sith, you see him flying to rescue Palpatine from the clutches of Dooku. In Attack of the Clones, you have the scene on Coruscant where they're chasing the assassin through the ship. So you know that Vader, aka Anakin, is a fantastic pilot. So he is basically just dodging everything and blowing the shit out of them, using the Force to push torpedoes and stuff aside, which is really cool. He uses the Force to blow up the torpedoes. Luke Skywalker realizes who it is and decides to crash his X-Wing into Vader's TIE Fighter, which he does, sending them both spiraling down to the planet. But at what cost? The cost of all of these rebel pilots. At this point, we go to the secret rebel refueling base where they get word that Vader has crashed. They send word to the rebel fleet, and Leia is like, this is our chance, we've got to go. Han Solo is like, hold on a second, isn't that where Luke is? The stakes have just been raised. So he gets Chewie to get the Falcon up and running, and they head off to the planet together. At this point, Dr. Aphra is freaking out because while she didn't intentionally send Vader into a trap, she didn't know that the rebels were training on that planet. She thinks that Vader might feel that that is the case. So she decides to head there and rescue Vader. And here we see 000, the murderous protocol droid. That will come in to play a little bit later in the story. So the rebels all converge upon Vader with their ships. They're going to bomb him, but he just basically uses the Force to beat the shit out of everybody. The forces land and they surround Vader. They have him trapped, dead to rights. They want him to surrender, but anyone that saw the film Rogue One, especially the ending, knows that this is a very bad idea. And then we move into the next issue of the story, Darth Vader issue 13. Vader, of course, does not surrender. He uses the Force to cause all of their detonators and grenades to explode, basically wiping everybody out. And in the ensuing chaos, Vader pretty much comes out of it completely unscathed. At this point, Han and Leia have landed on the planet. They are talking to the commander of the rebel base, who thanks them for their help. And here we get another really great scene between Han and Leia. Leia wants to take Vader down. Of course, he destroyed Alderaan. But Han thinks that they need to go and rescue Luke. So they kind of have a little back and forth. And Han is like, you know what? I'll do the Luke thing. You do you, princess. Your worshipfulness. At this point, Dr. Aphra and the droids have landed or have come to, the planet. They realize who Luke Skywalker's associates are, Princess Leia and Han Solo. And she is determined to get Vader away from there. So, at this point, they are scouring the area looking for Vader. They have one of the snow speeders from Empire Strikes Back, or from Kenobi. I loved the use of these ships in Kenobi. It was just fantastic. And Vader basically just blows it up. Luke, who has survived the crash with R2, sees this, but decides to kind of head for the ruins of the Jedi Temple. At the same time, Dr. Aphra sees him and is kind of scouting, thinking that maybe if she can save Vader and bring Luke to Vader, he won't blame her for the ambush or trap that she didn't actually lead him into. They go to the ruins of a Jedi temple, at which point Aphra has decided to trick Luke. So she spray paints 000 gold, so he looks like C-3PO, and Luke is like, 3PO, it's good to see you, and R2's like, beep, beep, boop, 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 which basically means, that's not 3PO, you fucking idiot. But the protocol droid shocks Luke into unconsciousness, and then Dr. Aphra has him captured, which moves us to Star Wars issue 13. They're still in the ruins. R2 is trying to protect an unconscious Luke, and R2 comes across his evil counterpart, BT, and then you find out that BT is just like a gun-toting murder droid, which is freaking hilarious, and he chases R2 down. At this point, Han and Chewie in the Millennium Falcon kind of see what's going on and race to the ruins. They realize that Luke has been captured by Dr. Aphra, and so they set up a plan where Han basically has a sniper rifle and talks to her. She plays upon his ego a little bit here. Like, he's like, oh, you've heard of me. She's like, yeah, like as of 2 minutes ago. But it's a ploy because Chewie comes and rips off the arm of 000, the murderous protocol droid, which is a throwback to the scene in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, where Chewie and C-3PO are playing that hologram game. And he comments, a droid won't rip your arms out of your sockets if you lose. So they kind of are attacking each other, and at the same time, at the base, Leia is like, I'm coming with you to get Vader, because Vader is the priority at this point. And so Luke wakes up. He sees R2 being chased by the murderous protocol droid, kicks him off a cliff. But the protocol droid, the murderous R2 unit, he kicks him off a cliff, but the R2 unit, just like we found out in the prequel trilogy, R2 can fly. He's got little rocket booster thingies. So does this one, but he's got all the guns. In the meantime, Chewie is smacking the crap out of the murderous protocol droid with his own arm. The dialogue of the protocol droid is incredibly hilarious. He's just trading insults and stuff like that. Really funny stuff, really well written kind of stuff. But ultimately, he ends up drugging Chewie. So Chewie becomes poisoned. He becomes slow and lethargic. Han realizes that Dr. Aphra is hiding beneath a wasp's nest or a worm wasp's nest or something, but he doesn't realize that he is as well, and they shoot at the same time, so the bugs cover her and the bugs cover him, and as they're kind of charging in, they run into each other and knock each other out. A ridiculous moment in an otherwise serious comic, but very fitting with the character of Han Solo. So that was kind of cool. The protocol droid at this point is going to kill Chewie, but Luke cuts his other arm off. So he's now armless, and he gets Chewie and R2 out of there. Han kind of comes to, not realizing what has happened, and the evil droids kind of have a little bit of a back and forth here, which is kind of funny. And the crazy R2 unit with the astromech droid, I should say, the crazy astromech droid, is about to shoot everyone, but R2 blinds his senses, and then he just fires willy-nilly, and everything kind of goes crazy. At this point, Leia and the others have gone to confront Vader, which you can see here she clearly does, and Vader is not intimidated in the slightest. Then we go to Darth Vader issue 14. We start with C-3PO trying to be the go-between of Leia's team and Han's team, trying to rescue Luke. Leia realizes that she kind of can't win here against Vader. Dr. Aphra, who was incapacitated in the last issue, is rescued by the droids. Leia and Vader have a back and forth. Leia realizes that there is only one way this is going to end, that she's going to have to sacrifice herself. She flees, knowing that Vader is going to follow so that she can coordinate an attack on her spot, and Vader will be destroyed. At this point, she runs into 3PO, and she says, "Can you please let Luke and Han know that this is the way it has to be?" 3PO tries to talk her out of it, but to no avail. Han and Luke manage to get to the Millennium Falcon. However, Dr. Aphra has called in a reinforcement, so to speak, in the form of the Wookiee bounty hunter, Krasantan, I believe. Black Krasantan. I don't know. He was in the Book of Boba Fett. He appears in the Book of Boba Fett, who crashes his ship into the Falcon and then is going to fight Luke and Han and Chewie. Chewie kind of goes after him, and they get into a brawl. At this point, Han basically tells Luke, "You have to go and help Leia. I will stay here and deal with this shit." The armless killer protocol droid runs into 3PO and ends up stealing his arms, which is just hilarious. At this point, Leia has called in the squadron, and Luke is trying to get to her first. He sees the squadron going to their location, and he's like, "Oh no." And Vader is just being Vader at this point. The squadron comes in, but there is also a squadron of TIE fighters that have come, which is interesting because Vader didn't call in any reinforcements or a squadron of TIE fighters. They fire at whoever is piloting, and that person deflects with a purple lightsaber. Who in the Star Wars universe has a purple lightsaber? Is it Mace Windu? Well, no. It's Commander Carbon, a Mon Calamari cyborg-esque Jedi lightsaber-wielding psychopath, which is really fucking cool. Very much like General Grievous. Okay, Star Wars issue 14. We have the Rebel fleet getting to the planet. We also have the Mon Calamari confronting Vader, basically saying, "You are finished. I will be taking over from here, and I will become the Emperor's new chosen one." Vader and the Mon Calamari fight, and at this point, Leia tries to get the fuck away. Leia tries to get the fuck away. The bounty hunter is getting the best of Chewie, and Han kind of tries to help, but Chewie is in the way, and it is all because Chewie has been poisoned, so he's still weak at this point. Han gets R2 to fire a dart, which contains an antidote, into Chewie, and then Chewie just beats the living snot out of this Wookiee bounty hunter. At this point, Luke is back in the ruins of the Jedi Temple, and stormtroopers appear, and Luke kind of holds them off, deflecting the laser blasts. He comes across the 2 murder droids, and they basically go apeshit, killing all of the Imperial troops because Dr. Aphra knows that Vader didn't send them in. Therefore, she thinks that what she's doing is kind of protecting Vader, but she also wants to take Luke to Vader at the same time. Vader and the Mon Calamari have a really wicked lightsaber duel, and he ends up defeating his foe. Or does he? Yeah, he pretty much does. Chewie and the Wookiee bounty hunter continue to fight. Han kind of realizes what's going on, gets in contact with Luke, but Luke gets taken out. The bounty hunter grabs Han because Chewie gets taken out, and 3PO and R2-D2 are kind of freaking out a little bit. The Imperials now have Luke. The bounty hunter now has Han and Vader, and the Mon Calamari are continuing to fight, but Leia has Vader in her sights. What is going to happen in Darth Vader issue 15? Well, Vader and the Mon Calamari kind of go at it. Leia remembers the destruction of Alderaan, but she needs to kind of get to her friends, so this isn't the moment. Vader ends up killing the Mon Calamari guy. 3PO and R2-D2 trick the Wookiee bounty hunter into being electrified via... He grabs 3PO and R2 electrocutes 3PO, which electrocutes the bounty hunter. Dr. Aphra comes and manages to blow up the bridge that Vader was kind of fighting on, thus forcing the Mon Calamari into submission, which Vader quickly makes work of. He and Dr. Aphra kind of reconcile. All of our heroes get kind of back together again. They watch as an Imperial shuttle is downed, which has Luke in it. So Luke is reconciled with everyone. I believe Luke is in that shuttle. Yes. Dr. Aphra kind of tries to make a deal with them to kind of bring Luke to Vader, but it clearly doesn't work because Leia just shit cans her ass. And so now Leia is reunited with them. They get on board the Millennium Falcon and get the fuck out of Dodge City. And Vader watches it fly off into the distance. And then we have some other kind of trade paperbacks that you can buy. But that is Vader down. Now, what did I think of this? I fucking loved this story. I loved the ties to the original trilogy. I love what Marvel is actually doing with the Star Wars franchise in conjunction with Disney, of course. All in all, very impressive and a lot of fun to read. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow us on all our Plaguelands media stuff at the end of this video. And stay safe, but while you're staying safe, can you please read a fucking book, people?